just write content better than everyone else, and you're going to crush it when it comes to SEO. This is a lie. Yet, this is what Google and many of the top SEO influencers will tell you, or at least some version of it, when it comes to how to rank with SEO. Liars! You're all liars. Just kidding. Actually, nah, I'm not really kidding. You're all liars. So let's put that load of crap to rest, and let's show you what is really working when it comes to SEO based off facts and real data. And I'm going to prove to you what really works in SEO right now. And I'm going to expose the lies of the liars. My name is Greg. I've done over $100 million in sales online since 2005, and I've coached thousands of students to SEO success. I still do 8 figures a year in affiliate marketing sales. I have a 7-figure a year agency and a high-end mastermind. All right, enough of that shit. Not trying to pat myself on the back. I just want to show you that I don't at least completely suck. So let's start with an example of one of my many SEO test sites. If we go to Google and we do a search for Delaware SEO, we can see the #1 site right here is Delaware SEO OMG.com. Now, this is one of my test sites. Also down here in the maps at #1 is my brother-in-law's site, which I helped him get there, although he doesn't even have this site anymore. He's no longer in business, which is #1 in the maps. And then at #7 is another one of my SEO test sites, SEOdelaware.net. So let's go take a look at these sites. Let's focus on the top one because it's #1. If we bring up Delaware SEO OMG.com, we're going to see that it breaks a lot of SEO rules. Okay, so it's a very plain site. It's a very thin site. The content actually flat out sucks, to tell you the truth. Nothing good about it, yet it ranks #1. How did I do this? Well, we're going to get into that in just a minute, but notice that I break a lot of rules here. There's no contact information. There's no NAP, which is name, address, and phone number. Yet, I continue to rank #1, and I haven't touched this site for many years. We can also go and do a search for Nashville SEO. Now, when I search for Nashville SEO, we can see the #1 site right here is NashvilleSEO.org. This is also one of my test sites, which I haven't touched in many years. And if we bring up this site, we're going to see pretty much the same thing. It's a crappy site, doesn't look good, on a basic theme. Now, this one does have some contact information, so it has NAP. Laid out a little better, but there's no images. It's not a pretty site, and no one's going to come to this site and call. It's pretty much just set up here for testing purposes. And the last example I want to show you is if we do a search for Landenberg SEO, we see the second site right here is Landenberg SEO fworder.com. This is my test site as well. Now, this site I want to show you for a couple of reasons. #1, because I wanted to see if this site would rank with the F word in it, and that was part of the test that I did with this site. And test passed, obviously. But I also want to do a test on some other things, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But if I bring this site up, we can see that, again, it is a very plain site. Actually, this one is only one page. There's one page across the whole site. There's no images. There's no contact information, no NAP. Yet, we are #2 for Landenberg SEO. So we had 3 different search terms there with 3 different sites. And all 3 have the first thing that is needed to rank with SEO, and that is your basic on-page optimization. I personally think that most SEOs make on-page optimization way too confusing. It's pretty simple, and I always teach my students to focus on the following 6 basic things. So if we go into my super fancy setup here into my Word document, you can see the 6 things that I focus on when it comes to on-page SEO, and the 6 things that I have my students focus on when it comes to on-page SEO. Now, the first thing is to have your keyword in your domain or URL. And this is going to be the biggest ranking factor when it comes to on-page. Now, it becomes even more important as you get more links. So if I have Delaware SEO in my domain name, it's going to do a good bit for me, but it doesn't start doing like a ton for me until I get more and more links. The more links you get, the more the keyword in your domain does for your ranking purposes. #2 is keyword in title. This is the second biggest on-page ranking factor that I like to focus on. 3 is keyword variations in H tag. So what I mean by this is having either your keyword or variations of it, and you don't want too many, which we'll talk about in just a minute, in your H tag. So if I'm saying Delaware SEO, I may want to say something like search engine optimization in one of my H tags or some type of digital marketing type terms, things that are just semantically related to Delaware SEO, Delaware or SEO, either one or both together. #4 is to make sure that your content length is similar to the sites on page 1 that have similar authority to you. Now, I know Google has said many times, content length doesn't matter. I don't believe them. Okay, I don't believe most of what they say. I go by the data. what I do is I go to page 1, I see who's ranking on the first page, and I take sites that are similar in authority to me, so that means sites that have the similar amount of links that I have, and then I have the same word count that they do with their sites, or something somewhat close, whether it's within a few hundred words or so, somewhere related to the sites that are similar to my authority ranking on page 1. That is where I go with my content length. Number 5 is you don't overuse keywords in your content. If anything, underuse them, but make sure you have them at least once. Now, Google's gotten very good at understanding what pages are about, especially when you have your keyword in the domain or URL, in the title, and in the H tags. Having your keywords in the actual content is actually a very small ranking factor. The reason is, if I have a site that's about Delaware SEO, and I mention cats on that page somewhere, just in my regular text, well, that site isn't about cats, right? If the site was about cats, it would be in my most important places, either my domain or my URL, my title, my H tags. If it's only in my content, it's not doing much for my ranking factors, right? So it's not that big of a ranking factor. So I make sure I just don't over-optimize keywords in my content, because that can actually hurt you. Whereas under-optimizing them is not going to hurt you, because you already have it in the most important places, like the keyword in domain URL, title, or H tags. So number 6 is to format your content as much as possible with table of content, bolding, bullet points, numbered lists, images, video if possible, etc. The better you can make your article look, the better it's going to be for you. Now, if we go back to my examples here, you'll see that I didn't do this for most of these pages. The reason is because these are really old sites where I wasn't doing that back then. This is more of a newer rule that's come in the last couple years, where formatting of articles has really made a big difference. So you then may be asking, well, then how were you able to get this site to rank? Well, because that's lower on my list in the ranking factors. I did so good at all these things and my off-page SEO, which we'll talk about in just a minute, that I don't even need that. But again, when you focus on these 6 core things, you're giving yourself the best possible chance of ranking. Yes, there are other little ranking factors that matter when it comes to on-page, but honestly, they're so small that I don't even focus on those at all unless I absolutely have to. If I do everything I need to do with my on-page, and I do all my off-page, and I'm still not ranking where I need to be, then maybe I focus on the other little small things for on-page SEO. The problem is, if you focus on those from the very beginning, you often miss things in the 6 most important things that I have on the screen right here. So I've always taught my students, focus on these 6 core tactics, and it's going to do a whole lot for you. And most of the time, you don't have to do anything else when it comes to on-page SEO. And I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of testimonials from SEO students who use this simple formula. Of course, if the content is actually really good, it's going to help, but you have to get the above right. It's like 95% of what makes on-page SEO work. Yes, again, there are other outside factors of my rules, but they're so small in the algorithm that I've learned it almost hurts people to spread their focus too much to those things that don't matter as much. Focusing 100% on the 95% that matters is going to get you much, much further. Then you can always tidy up some of the very small things later on if needed, which usually it isn't needed. Now, that's just the first half of the SEO formula, and that's the easy part. If you can't get that part right, well, you might want to look for a different career path. Just kidding. Well, kind of kidding. The other half of the formula is the tricky part where all those dirty little liars misled you, and that is authority, or maybe more familiar to you, backlinks, or the amount of backlinks that you have. And of course, quality of backlinks matter a lot. So relevant is good. High authority is also good, but high authority and relevant together is great. And the on-page formula from above plus authority, explained above, is what is working in SEO right now. Such a simple formula that everyone wants to complicate. It's really that simple. Now, I want to talk about the dirty little liars that I mentioned in the first part of this video. See, they preach to just create great content, you'll rank, but this is only true for them. The reason? Authority. Let's take Neil Patel for example. So, if we take a look at the stats for neilpatel.com, we see something pretty interesting, but not surprising. He has a domain rating of 91. He has 1.6 million backlinks from over 106,000 referring domains. He's ranking for over 762,000 keywords, and he's getting about $2.4 million worth of traffic per month. So if Neil Patel just writes good content, then yes, he's going to rank if he follows the on-page rules I talked about. If you and I do the same, well, we might rank, but it highly depends on the competition of the search term. Now, you and I likely don't have 106,000 referring domains going to any of our websites that we own. We likely have maybe 10, maybe 100, maybe a couple thousand, but nowhere near 106,000 referring domains, and this gives Neil Patel a huge advantage. Now, major credit to him for building up his site over the past 10 to 20 years and doing all that work, but most people are looking to rank within at least the next few months, the next year, next couple years, and not have it take 10 years to rank. Now, I want to put this into perspective for you. Let's go to a search, and let's go to Google and search for how to do SEO. Now, when I go search for how to do SEO, what I want to do is scroll down to the organic results and notice my Ahrefs toolbar I have installed here. The major thing I want you to pay attention to is the amount of referring domains right here, and that's the amount of referring domains that the site that's ranking has. Now we see the number 1 site has 508,000 referring domains. Number 2, Google.com has 1.2 million referring domains. Number 3, WordStream has 75,000 referring domains. Number 4, Search Engine Journal has 295,000 referring domains. 5 is HubSpot. They have 508,000. 6, MIT.edu, 53,000. SEMrush, they have 141,000. Ahrefs, they have 99,000. Moz.com, they have 179,000 referring domains. So if I remember correctly, the lowest referring domains that we saw was around the 50,000 referring domains mark. If you think you're going to come in with a site that has 100 referring domains or even 1,000 referring domains or maybe even 10,000 referring domains and rank simply because you write great content, you are sadly mistaken. And this is what those dirty little liars don't tell you. They don't explain that they have that pre-built authority on their sites that they've been working on for 10 years or more. Many of us are working on sites that have tens, hundreds, if not maybe a couple thousand referring domains, and we can't compete with these high authority domains. So it really depends on the competition when it comes to can we rank or not. Now, let's go back and let's go again and search for Landenberg SEO. So when I search for Landenberg SEO, you see something totally different. You see the number 1 site right here has 4 referring domains. Number 2, my site, has no referring domains, so no links. Number 4 is YouTube. They have a ton. They have 36 million. Number 4 has 18 million. Number 5 has 309,000. Number 6 has 10. Number 7 has 33. Number 8 has 148,000. Number 9 has 49. And number 10 has 83,000. Now we saw some really high domain numbers in there, but we also see the ones up top, which is me and the other site, have 4 and 0. Now that's a major difference when it comes to SEO power. We have much lower authority. What this means is this search term is not as competitive. Now, if one of those super high authority sites like Neil Patel or Search Engine Journal or any of those other major sites with large amounts of referring domains came in and they optimized a article or a piece of content like we did, the number 1 and number 2 guys, they would rank ahead of us with a snap of a finger. The thing is, no major authority sites are going after Landenberg SEO because it's such a small term. So there's a major difference between searches when it's something like how to do SEO versus Landenberg SEO. There's so few people who are properly optimized with on-page SEO for Landenberg SEO that you are able to get in there without any authority at all, as you can see with my site at number 2. I did this by taking advantage of all the 6 ranking factors that I went over right here. I have my keyword in domain, I have my keyword in my title, I have keyword variations of my H tags, my content length is similar to those that were on the first page, which is the site above me. I don't overuse the keywords in my content. Now I didn't format it because this is a really old site, or I didn't format it as good as I should have, but again, that's last on our list. We did the top 5 things very well when it comes to our on-page SEO, and that is how we were able to rank number 2 with a site that has 0 links going to it. So you have to be very careful. When someone tells you just go write great content, that's not necessarily the case. Yes, great content can help when you have the proper on-page optimization done, but there's certain search terms like how to do SEO and many other search terms, millions, tens of millions of them, where no matter how good of SEO content you write, you are not going to rank because it's jam-packed with high authority sites. So, I know the next question you're going to ask. You're going to say, well, how do I build my authority? Now, there's tons of ways to build your authority, but it takes a very long time. I have some ways to start with instant authority, but that's going to have to wait for another video. If interested, make sure you subscribe, and I'll cover that soon if the request is there. So hopefully that helps clear up all the dirty little lies that those dirty little liars are telling you. Writing great content does not necessarily mean you're going to rank. You have to also look at what type of authority is on the first page for the keywords that you're going after. But if you master the on-page factors that I covered right here, and you get those right, it's going to give you the best chance of ranking the quickest. Then you just have to build your authority, and we're going to cover that in another video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.